Hey, welcome to the Monday morning show. Grant Cohn, Ryan Hensley, Cohn and Hensley. You can call it that. Niners won a big game. Big win, statement win. It couldn't have been really more impressive. It couldn't have been more embarrassing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not taking anything away from Jacksonville. They were the hottest team in football, but it feels like the Niners kind of ended them. Kind of like they ended Miami last year. It was very dramatic. Yeah. I don't see how they look themselves in the eye after that. But we're going to talk about the whole team. Let's start with Brock Purdy. A lot was at stake. The most was at stake for Brock Purdy and Steve Wilkes this week. So let's start with Brock Purdy. 6 turnovers in the last 3 games. Starts this game with what Kyle Shanahan called the worst decision of his career after the game. Rolls left, throws back right, throws it through a bunch of defenders' hands. It ends up in Brandon Ayuk's hands. It's a touchdown. After the game, Kyle Shanahan was laughing. He's like, I can say this because he played so well the rest of the game. But that was legitimately the worst decision he's made since he's been here. Yeah. You do not do that. But he'd been unlucky the last few weeks. He got lucky this time, and then he rolled. Did you learn anything new about Brock Purdy, or were your feelings solidified? What did you think of what he did?
Well, I think this is what was great about this game to me is that we saw Brock Purdy come back from struggles, right? We've never seen that. He was won every game he started and finished up until 3 weeks ago. And now we've seen him struggle, go through 3 losses, and then bounce back with a really good game. One of my favorite games from Brock Purdy. That first throw was dangerous, but he completed it. We got 6. I'll take it. It is interesting though. We come on here and we analyze Brock Purdy. I just try to tell my honest opinions. And sometimes we get ripped for it, but all I would have said was the same thing that Kyle Shanahan just said in the press conference, right? I think they look at the game from a realistic standpoint, and I try to do the same. But yeah, that first throw was dangerous, but hey, it worked out. I'm not going to complain about it. But what we saw is that Brock Purdy can bounce back from struggle, and he struggled the last 3 weeks. He bounced back, played a great game, a very diverse game. We'll talk about that more later, which I like to see for the 49ers and Brock Purdy. But it was great to see him bounce back and overcome adversity, not shrink down after struggling, able to bounce back. Brock Purdy is a really good quarterback, man. Whether he's great or not, I don't know. We'll see. I think that's yet to be determined. He's got to be able to put the team on his back and carry them in order to be great in my eyes. But he's a really good quarterback, much better than Jimmy Garoppolo, and the 49ers are in a pretty good position having him on the team.
I feel like the perception, though, is that he's had an up and down year. Started great, had a slump, and now he's back. But honestly, the way I look at it is I think he's been the same all year. I think the team around him has changed a little bit. Early in the season, he would get these leads. The defense was great. He would cruise. Brock Purdy with a lead is a really, 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 really good player. Yeah. Then Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel went down. All of a sudden, the defense started struggling, lost its identity, and he's playing from behind. And I don't know that he was struggling or he just suddenly was down 5 in the 4th quarter, and that's not necessarily where Brock's at his best. Yeah. So then in this game, he gets his guys back. All of a sudden, the Niners, who are a very, a veteran team with a lot of guys making big bucks who aren't necessarily hungry anymore, but they know when to turn it on. They turn it on, and all of a sudden, the game's over in the 3rd quarter. I still feel like it's the same Brock every week. And on this team, when everyone's rolling and healthy, he's more than good enough. When you take away 2 players, and all of a sudden it's all right, Brock, we need you to step up this week. I don't think that's who he is. Yeah. That's my assessment of Brock. I don't think you can ask any more from him than what he gives you. And what he gives you is a very advanced, confident, young, cheap quarterback that you can put a stacked team around. He's very advanced for his price point. And that's wonderful. Yeah. But if you start taking away Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, and that, and that's it, just 2 guys all of a sudden, I don't know, man. I don't think he's that kind of elevating. Elite quarterbacks elevate talent around them, right? I don't think he's that guy.
Yeah, not yet, at least. And if I had to wager whether he'll become that or not, I don't know if I would. But right now, he's not. I don't think. But I mean,
I don't see how he can become it. You know what I mean? His whole thing about him is how advanced he is. I don't know how much more talent he has.
I think it's a mental part. I think he can improve. First perfect example, that first throw.
Stop turning the ball over. Yeah.
Right. That throw is dangerous. Right. So his decision making, he can't. There's things where he can do to improve. Not that he's an absolutely trash decision maker.
But isn't that who he is, though? Like, he doesn't want to be a game manager. He wants to be the guy who throws with anticipation and makes plays.
He's Brett Favre without the arm talent. Kind of, yeah, a little bit. He's got that in him, yeah.
He's not. I know he checks down the ball a lot, but he really thinks he's good. I mean, that first touchdown pass was a very borderline it was a reckless throw, but you have to be really confident to try it.
Brock Purdy's good with anywhere like 28, 30 yards and under 25 yards. He's pretty damn good, man. He has enough arm strength to make those throws, and he has the anticipation to make up for that arm strength. He's not going to go deep on you like Kaepernick. Like I was looking at a play from Kaepernick, the 60 air yard bomb to Vernon Davis the other day, posted on my Twitter. He's not making those throws. But he does the go route to Kittle is like 28 yards past the line of scrimmage, maybe 34 yards in the air, something like that. That was a good throw. Those are the kind of throws he's going to need to make. Obviously, the defenses would be different if they were behind, right? He wouldn't have had that. Like there'd be a high safety back there helping on that route. So we'll have to see if he can make those throws. But again, I agree with you so far. We haven't seen that yet from him. He's had a couple opportunities to show us against Minnesota and the Bengals. He wasn't able to do it. Kind of collapsed in that moment. But when all cylinders are cooking, like all cylinders are firing, and they're doing their thing, he's the perfect game manager, perfect guy to run this offense for Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, if you give him a 7-10 point lead, he'll run it up. Like he is a really good play action passer with a lead. He can roll left, he can roll right, he can scramble, he can create plays. He's really good. He can throw down the field, and there's so many extended handoffs built into the offense when you have Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel on the field together. There's so many easy completions that can go for big gains. It's just when you turn him into a drop back quarterback, which is when you're losing. And that's when the best quarterbacks show that they're the best quarterbacks. Like that's when Joe Montana showed that he was Joe Montana. That's when Patrick Mahomes shows that he's Patrick Mahomes. And when we've seen Brock in those situations, it hasn't been good yet. He just hasn't been in that situation very much, and he wasn't in it this week, and he may not be in it again for a while. But I just feel like at some point you got it.
Yeah, I mean,
Garoppolo almost got around it, man. He had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Almost had it. Almost didn't have to come from behind for a whole year.
That's what gives me some kind of confidence that the 49ers can still win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy and a young quarterback, because look how close they came with Jimmy. And Brock, to me, is way better than Jimmy. Like the throw that Brock Purdy made to George Kittle down the sideline, I mean, it's not like it was a super deep ball or anything, but he was under so much pressure getting hit, and he stayed in the pocket and delivered the throw, whereas Jimmy would have definitely taken a sack, probably fumbled, and who knows. So Brock Purdy's an improvement over Jimmy Garoppolo, and they almost won a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, so that gives me confidence the 49ers got a shot, man. There's other weaknesses that they have on this team that I think are honestly bigger than Brock Purdy. And I think
Can I give you some stats, though? Stats, though?
Yeah.
All right. When Brock Purdy's winning, okay, his quarterback, his completion percentage is this season. His completion percentage is 69. His TD to INT ratio is 8-0, and his quarterback rating is 120. Okay, when he's winning.
Yeah.
When it's tied, all right, his completion percentage is 74. His TD to INT ratio is 5-1, and his quarterback rating is 122. Even better. When he's losing, his completion percentage is 63. His TD to INT ratio is 2-4, and his quarterback rating is 82. That's where I'm at with Brock. Okay, he's a really good quarterback when everything's going well and they get the lead. But a lot of quarterbacks on this team, you could say that about. Maybe they wouldn't be as good as Brock. Brock's nice, but what about like what you get paid for? Really, down the line is the ability to bring a team back and put the team on your shoulders, and he hasn't shown the ability to do that. He's the little brother. It's like when I was a kid, I have an older brother. He's 12 years older than me. We would go to the mountains, and he would take me skiing. I would just be on his shoulders, and he would be going down the little bunny slopes. That's Brock. He's on the shoulders, and he's having a great time, but he hasn't really shown that he can ski yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. I think that
was a
true.
Terrible metaphor. I'm so sorry.
I just kept picturing that.
Like,
there's a meme like that. There's a meme like that where there's a baby on the shoulders. I keep thinking that's what that made me think of when you brought that up. But yeah, no, I mean, but also, I mean, the fact that they're losing means they're probably going against a good team. So I guess we got to put that into. I mean, there's a reason why they're losing in those situations, also. Yeah. And maybe it's some Brock Purdy. I think you're right, though. He hasn't shown that. I think the closest thing he's shown is that Raiders game. But it was the Raiders, right? So we'll see when he goes up against these really elite teams. We'll see against the Eagles on December 3rd. We'll see against the Seahawks in Seattle. Not that Seattle's elite. I wouldn't go that far, but they're a good team. And then we'll see in the playoffs. I think we're definitely going to find out this year at some point whether he can answer the call or not. I think he's had a couple opportunities against the Vikings and the Bengals, and he didn't answer the call. But that doesn't mean he won't in the future. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, if you're facing Brock Purdy and the Niners as a defense, you're telling yourself we're not letting Christian McCaffrey beat us this week. Sorry, no offense. I mean, I know Brock Purdy can beat you, but it's all about stopping the run game and forcing Brock Purdy to beat you. And if he's winning, you can't do that. Like, if he's winning and they're running the ball well, he's so dangerous on play action passes because you could get McCaffrey going one way and then Purdy play fake and rolling the other way. That's tough to stop in and of itself.
Right.
And there's so many things they can do. Once he's losing, that's out the window. The run game, the play action game, it's just drop back and throw. And that's not what he does well. It's not what the offense does well. It's not what Kyle does well. So I would like to see him, all of those, the entire team prove me wrong on that thing, because I feel like if you can only win one way, you're not going to win the Super Bowl. And I feel like the Niners can win one way right now. They won that way yesterday. It's extremely impressive, but we've seen them do that before. We've seen them blow out teams, get an early lead, and just suffocate them. But that doesn't necessarily mean that if they fall, like let's say they fall behind 7-0 to Tampa next week, what's going to happen? That could happen. So I'm not picking Tampa to win next week, but I still like to see the Niners come from behind against a team. And that's Brock too.
What I think helps, and you and I have been talking about passing attempts the last week and a half pretty heavy. You brought up the stat, last 9 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks threw the ball 35 times. What I think would help prepare him, and what was great to see in this game, is Brock Purdy threw 26 times through 3 quarters, pretty much, right? I think I don't know when he left the game, like 10 minutes left in the fourth, something like that, whatever it was, but he threw 26 times.
And then there was no reason to keep pressing the issue after that. But that was good. Yeah.
But the pace he was on, 26 through 3 quarters, that's almost like 34 per game if he would have stayed through 4 games or through 4 quarters.
Because what you want is like 36 a game, right? And that's what? That's how many per quarter?
Like 9 per quarter. 9 per quarter.
It's like 9 a quarter.
And he was like 8.5. He was on that trajectory.
That's what you want.
Obviously,
and a lot of these throws are just extended handoff screens anyway, man. Come on. That's what the whole league is. Yeah.
But what's good about it is that's not only the way you win Super Bowls over the last 9 years, but that's also what prepares Brock Purdy, right? Those reps, passing a lot, let him do his thing. We've all seen the numbers. He's doing really well. If you look at all his career numbers, his numbers are good. So just turn it up a lot. Give him a little bit more and see what he can do with it. And that's not only going to help you win now, because I think it played a part in helping them beat the Jaguars the way they did, but it's also going to prepare you for the Super Bowl, for those crunch moments where he'll have more time and experience throwing the ball.
Yeah, what is the point of having all these weapons who are expensive if you're not going to throw the ball more? And I'm not saying, air it out 40 yards down the field. That's not his game. But instead of calling so many runs, especially when it's not effective, no. It's instead of calling so many runs and wearing down Christian McCaffrey in November, just call some screens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a similar concept. Brock Purdy can execute it. It'll save everyone some wear and tear, and it'll improve the offense. And I think we saw that in this game. I thought it was interesting too, because the Jaguars are such a screen team. They kept throwing screens, and all of a sudden it felt like Kyle was like, all right, well, I can outshine you there too. You think you're clever, Doug? All right, I'm gonna show you how it's done.
Yeah, that was interesting. Jaguars screening the hell out of the ball, and then the next series for the Niners, they're like, well, let's do it too.
Okay, like you have Dearness Johnson and we have Christian McCaffrey. Chris Tallarico says, I hate to be that guy, but I don't think we learned anything about the offense. Brock and Kyle play good when they're ahead. I wonder how much Kyle would have leaned on CMC if it were closer. Hey, lean on CMC. He's the engineer offense, but just it doesn't need to be a 20 carry, 3 or 4 target split. It should be 15, 16 carries, 8 to 10 targets. I like that a lot better.
I think we learned something, but I'll save it for when we talk about the big takeaways.
All right. Willard Culver says, Grant, I just started working in Oakland by Lakeside Park. Do you have any food suggestions nearby? Lakeside Park? Oh, go to the Rockin' Crawfish. It's by the lake. It's one of those places. There's a few of them in the bay. It's one of those places that has like crab and shrimp and crawfish and like bags. It's so good. I like food in bags. Rockin' Crawfish is fun.
They got good
Crazy
food over
Rod.
there.
Hell yeah. Crazy Rod 16 says, hey, Grant, the game was so good. Now they showed it against Fox. Now they show it again in Fox Sports 2 in Columbia. Hey, enjoy it if you're there. Jack's Fat Boy 65 says Wilkes celebrating with his players.
Yeah.
Chris Talarico says we learned that Wilkes can call a good game. They needed this W and they got it. Don't have many more L's they can take, and they have some tough games coming up. Beat Philly, Baltimore, or come from behind. Yeah. Those are going to be 2 games. David Sante, $2. Thank you. Justin Herring, member for 2 months. Thank you. E. Gonzalez says it looks like of all things, fatigue is going to be the demise of this team. They were cooked by week 8. Their stars are old. They need a first-round bye. Look at how good they look coming off a bye.
I had a girlfriend named Erica Gonzalez in 6th grade. Is that you?
What's up, Erica? How you doing?
Yeah.
Daniel Regis says, seen a lot of red in the Jaguar Stadium yesterday. Do you think we have the best traveling fan base? Cowboys have a good one. Steelers have a good one. Packers have a good one. Top 4 for sure.
Yeah.
Top 4. Definitely. Maybe the best. Double B Studio says Niners won because Kyle shaved his beard. Did he? Yes, he did.
I like the beard. Right. It's weird for me to look at Kyle sometimes because we're the same age. It's weird for me. My wife's like, he looks old. And I'm like, yeah, he's a stressful gig. I don't know. We're the exact same age.
43?
Yeah. Oh, I'm 44. I think I'm like 5 months older than him. Something like that. Yeah.
Was putting Steve Wilkes on the sideline a good move? I mean, obviously everything the Niners did on defense worked out, but was it because he was there, touching you, touching me? Sorry.
Oh, man. I thought it was a good move. I like the move. Now, I'm not saying that that's what the difference, right? I think the outcome would have been pretty similar in this game, whether he was up top or in the bottom. But I think long-term for building the chemistry and the relationships with his players, right? I reported that a source told me that the players were not really bought in on him. And I think this could really change that. You saw a few conversations he was having with players, and it was great to see. I think that stuff is important, in him building those relationships, getting the buy-in, communication, maybe understanding what they're seeing versus what he's seeing and working out what might work better. I think that's all good stuff. I think it is. I think it was a good move. As long as he can call plays the same as effectively down as he could up, then it's all positive. And it looks like he did a fantastic job doing that. So I think the relationships and the communication are positive.
I think he could have done what he did yesterday from the booth. I think he could have done that from the booth. I think what he did yesterday was more schematic than emotional, although maybe there was an emotional component. But it seemed like what he did was, first of all, he got Chase Young. That was nice. That's a nice addition. Now he's got 4 pass rushers.
Yeah.
And he made the decision, look, I'm going to trust my pass rush. I'm going to play tighter coverage, even though I don't really trust Travarius Ward to keep his hands to himself. I can only imagine, because he won't. I'm going to live with his penalties. He had 2 automatic first downs on him. I'll live with it. I'm going to bench Isaiah Oliver. Smart. Should have done that a long time ago. Yeah. And I'm going to play Ambry Thomas and hope to God that the Jaguars don't know who he is or what he's about. And they didn't. That was genius.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how well that's going to work in the future. I feel like teams, if they know Ambry Thomas is on the field, they might. I mean, I was surprised the Jaguars didn't go after him earlier. I mean,
yeah, I'm going to talk about him later also.
Did you do your homework at all? But look, Wilkes knew that it's an AFC team. They don't really know the Niners. Why would they know that Ambry Thomas? He made a great play, but it's not like he could cover anyone. So in the future, I don't know. Wilkes may have more adjustments to make, but for this game, it was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I don't know if the outcome would have been any different in this game, whether he was in the booth or on the field. But I think the buy-in, the relationships, the chemistry that you build, having I coached high school basketball. It's obviously not NFL football, completely different things. But the relationships and the chemistry and the trust that you build with those face-to-face interactions, that only happens if you're on the field. And so I think long-term for this season, it could be a good thing for this team. Whether or not it would have changed anything in this game, I don't know. But I think I don't. As long as he could see the field and call the plays effectively, I think it can only be a good thing long-term.
I don't know. It's cool that he came down, but it just seems like kind of like a 3-card Monty distraction when they like to put something in front of your face. It's like, man, the issue was Isaiah Oliver didn't need to play. You played 8 games with Isaiah Oliver. That shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And really, right now, your solution is playing putting Lenore in the slot and playing Ambry Thomas. Man, you got away with that. I'm going to say you got away with that for a week, but that's not a solution. I don't know that it's any better. Like this week, they could put Mike Evans on Ambry Thomas all day and go to work, and now you're in trouble. So
yeah, are we talking about the weaknesses on the 49ers? Still?
Well, yeah, I guess maybe we'll save that for a second because they're gonna have to figure that out. I got a couple more super chats. Dino Paid says we should keep running 5-minute front on defense. That was another thing that Steve Wilkes did. Yeah,
he's done it throughout the season. It wasn't new, but it is cool. Mix it up. Yeah,
it's a way to get Kinlaw on the field for sure. And I like a 5-man front. It's what the Eagles do a lot, and it gives everyone a one-on-one. And it gives someone a one-on-one against a center. And that's a great matchup. You could put Kinlaw there. I would put Kinlaw there.
And I like it to stop the run, too.
Yeah. For sure. Andy707 says, Jake Moody scares me. They iced him. You knew he was going to man the worst.
I got Moody. I got him loaded up in my bag for later, too.
What do you think the scouting report on Jake Moody is? Like the confidential NFL scouting report.
Well, you saw what they did to him.
Ice him. Talented kicker,
like you're not even supposed
he's a bit of a head case.
Yeah.
Jay McCallan says Bosa Young flag plant revenge game versus Baker. Revenge?
Yeah, Baker.
They've gotten
the flags. Yeah,
they've gotten revenge. The whole league has gotten revenge on Baker Mayfield, man.
Success is the ultimate revenge, and Baker has very little. So yeah.
Lamonte 757 says at the game yesterday, and we will never win a Super Bowl with Purdy. Seeing him in person, Purdy not it, and we will be in a quarterback hunt again. He misses open guys like Ayuk in the end zone, not the one.
He was under a lot of pressure. I'll give him that. He was under pressure quite a bit when he missed that pass to I think it was Debo. Wasn't it Debo in the end zone on that third down that he missed? Did he miss one to Ayuk too?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Brooks says the Ambry Sanders sideline Steve agenda is on.
Ambry Sanders is fire. Hall of Famer.
Dude, I can't believe the team ran on the field yesterday. That was crazy.
Yes.
Kirabel Tedeschi says Shanny needs to implement some screen plays on checks if Purdy sees blitzes pre-snap. They need to do more screens. That's a big thing that with the Andy Reid coaching tree. Lamonte 757 says at the game yesterday, plus a couple other times this year, it seems like that arm is going to get bent back again. A lot of guys coming close. What you think about that? Also, is it that for real to CMC? Also, is it that for real to CMC last TD?
Is it that for real? I like that they were trying to get CMC that record. I respect that. They took him out, put him back in when they got in the red zone. That's what I wanted them to do. I was impressed that Kyle Shanahan got those guys out. Probably let Brock Purdy on the field for one series too long. But other than that, it was great. He subbed a bunch of guys out, put in the backups, and then popped CMC in for a chance to get his touchdown at the end. I didn't have any problem with that. I respect that, trying to chase that record.
I did. I did feel like Brock Purdy's arm got hit in this game.
So, in regards to that comment, yeah, that is scary, man. I mean, that's why you kind of want to invest in an offensive line. We'll talk about that a little later.
Fafita says biggest Wilkes adjustment benching this guy Oliver. Yeah, his guy. It took him half a season, but he needed to do it. Yeah. Big Ted's Garage says mistakes come with big time plays. Brock makes watching these games fun again. I agree. Games with Jimmy was waiting for him to make mistakes on small gainers. Agree. That is really well put. Ramon Clark says football is an emotional sport. I believe for the last couple of seasons, our defense was fueled by the showing of emotions of our DCs on the sideline. Perhaps. I think it's part of it. It's part of it. Yeah. I do. I also think Isaiah Oliver needed to get benched. Sorry, Isaiah. All right. What is the Niners' biggest weakness?
Well, let's talk about that. I got a couple of them. There's two of them are brought up already. To me, the biggest weaknesses for the 49ers, let's talk about, there's three of them to me. Corner, Ambry Thomas. We're going to talk about that. Jake Moody and the right side of the O-line. As far as the corner is concerned, Ambry Thomas, he made a great play in this game. Benching Isaiah Oliver was the right move. Sliding Diamondo Lenore inside, putting Ambry out there is better than having Isaiah Oliver on the field. So that is good. But Ambry Thomas is going against the Bucs with Mike Evans, the Seahawks twice with Metcalf, and the Eagles with A.J. Brown over the next 4 weeks. Then they got to go against Zay Flowers on the Ravens. The reason that Ambry was able to do his thing decently more than anything is the pressure on the quarterback.
Right.
But those receivers that I just mentioned are going to be tough, especially when they go against the Eagles, who have a great offensive line and A.J. Brown.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I don't know that the Niners can necessarily just bench Isaiah Oliver and put Ambry Thomas out there and say we're good against the Eagles because they're going to go after Ambry Thomas all the time. I think it might go back like week by week. In this game, it made sense to do this because the biggest threat is Christian Kirk, who's going to be in the slot. So you got to get Lenore in there. They even had Travaris Ward in there, if you noticed, on that pass breakup. He was in the slot. It was a third down. You had to have that matchup. Now, next week, I mean, when you face teams with Mike Evans or DK Metcalf, you're not going to do that. You're probably going to leave Lenore outside. And I don't know. They need the Niners' biggest weakness is CB3. They don't have one. It's not Ambry. It's not Oliver. Maybe it's Darrell Luter Jr. or Samuel Womack, but those guys aren't even on the active roster yet. They don't have a third corner.
They're one sandwich short of a picnic, right? That seems to be the thing with Ambry Thomas. I think he's going to get picked on a lot. I mean, look, hats off to him. He had a good game. I hate to rate on his parade, but I mean, the Jags receivers are not going to be like what he's facing against Mike Evans, Metcalf, A.J. Brown. And particularly when you're going to see it become a problem is in the playoffs against teams like if they have to play the Lions, they have a good offensive line. Or when they play the Eagles on December 3rd, a good offensive line. And now the quarterback has more time, and now Ambry Thomas has to do his thing for a longer period of time. That's when you're going to see that weakness come about. And unfortunately, they tried to go get somebody during the trade period, and that's over. There's not many great options out there, so they're gonna have to roll with this. So getting Chase Young was huge because they really got to get after that quarterback in order to help guys like Ambry Thomas out. So that's one of the biggest weaknesses for this team. Do you want to talk on the other ones?
Well,
okay.
Well,
are you still?
Hey, give John Feliciano some credit. Like Aaron Banks went down. Feliciano was good in this game. He made any number of blocks on that outside zone runs to the right that allowed McCaffrey to cut back behind him. Thought he was really good. And he kind of like razzes me in the locker room, or he did a couple of times because I talk crap about him. So I want to shout out John. Like, nice going, dude. Nice playing. I wasn't really familiar with your game, but I thought you did all right.
I want to bring up Feliciano, and I'm wrong about a lot of stuff. But Feliciano is one of the guys, I think on your show, I said, I believe Feliciano is one of the best 5 linemen that these 49ers have. And I still think that way. And to me, he showed it. So to me, so one of the big weaknesses for the 49ers is the right side of that offensive line.
I'm right there with you, man. Why is he not playing right guard?
He has to. Well, and here's the thing. Aaron Banks played right guard in college. So I don't know. There's so many combinations. This is what I wanted to ask you, Grant. Obviously, one of the biggest weaknesses for the 49ers is the right side of their offensive line. There's a few answers and solutions here, right? Left tackle, good, Trent Williams. You could leave Aaron Banks there at left tackle or left guard, excuse me, or you could put Feliciano there and put Banks at right guard. And then you still have to figure out that right tackle. Let's say hypothetically, you either put Feliciano at left guard or right guard. Either way, you can leave Banks where he's at, even though Banks played there in college next to Mike McClinchy of all people, right? Yeah, Trent Williams, Banks, Brindell is good enough. And then you have Feliciano. That's a good offensive line. What do you do at right tackle, though? Do you leave McKivitz there? Do you pop Jalen Moore there? Do you pop Burford outside? Or those are the 3 options. What would you do?
I mean, it'd be nice to put Jalen Moore at right tackle. I don't know if they've trained him at right tackle. I don't know if he can do it, but it's like he looks like a better player than Colton McKivitz. I mean, if they can do it, you'd love to have Feliciano at right guard and Jalen Moore at right tackle. That to me seems like it would be the most talented offensive line. But I don't know if they're comfortable there. Some guys aren't as good on the right as they are on the left, vice versa. But it seems like Feliciano is clearly a better player than Spencer Burford. Spencer Burford's PFF grade is 49 in 570 snaps. Feliciano's is 82 in 98 snaps.
Yeah.
Also, Jalen Moore's is 69, and Colton McKivitz is, I don't know, probably worse. So it seems like they should probably be able to figure that out. You got to get your 5 best offensive linemen on the field.
You got to. Feliciano is one of the top 5. Again, I was wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff. That's one thing I was right about. I'm gonna toot my own horn on that. Feliciano's got to be on the field, mate. If he's one of your best 5 offensive linemen, which he clearly is, then you got to find a place for him. I just don't know where that place is and what that means for the right tackle spot.
Right guard. I don't understand the Spencer Burford experience. Nothing against Spencer Burford. But he's like a 4th round pick. He wasn't better than Daniel Brunskill last year. They split time. Then Brunskill left, and the Niners just assumed that Spencer Burford would take the next step. Kind of like how they just assumed that Drake Jackson would take the next step. Neither one did. They reacted with Drake because they take DN seriously, got 2 other replacements, and they just ignore Spencer Burford. No, he's not good enough. You could do better. Feliciano's better.
Do you think they make that move? Do you think they insert Feliciano?
No. I think in the name of continuity, they're just going to leave it alone, which I think is a mistake. Spencer Burford's going to cost them.
They did mention, who was it, Kyle Shannon, that they're going to start working Feliciano in. So what do you think they'll do? Rotate him with Burford like they did last year with Burford?
They should. They should. I'm not sure what Spencer Burford does well. Never seen a really good Spencer Burford block.
Yeah, they got to invest in this coming draft after the season. They got to do it, and I think they will, hopefully. I mean, thought they would last year. Could you imagine? Here, think about this for a second, Grant. Just to torture myself, I was thinking about this last night. Trent Williams, left tackle. Aaron Banks, left guard. Mike Brindell, center. Right guard, Feliciano. Right tackle could have been DeJuan Jones.
Could have been DeJuan Jones. But instead, the Niners wanted what? A kicker?
Yeah, and 2 tight ends that haven't touched the field.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a little brief break to play some prize picks.
All right.
I like playing prize picks. I'm a prize picks junkie. If you want to play, use promo code Cohn, COHN, my last name, and receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. All right. Tonight, 2 quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen. Let's keep it simple, man. I want to win. Let's go Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, more than or less than. Josh Allen, they put about 275.5. That's a lot. What do you think?
Who's he going against?
Denver?
Oh, more. Denver's
easy.
So bad. I'm just going to say more. Yeah.
Easy. And I want to know what people in the chat, help me out, people in the chat, because I can't make decisions on my own when it comes to money. So Josh Allen, more than or less than 275.5. And then Russell Wilson, 213.5 against Buffalo. I know they have a good defense. He's having a pretty good year.
Yeah, he has it doing good. I don't know. It's tough. I hate Peyton. I hate Sean Payton as a coach. I don't know. I'm gonna
hold on.
I'm definitely going over Josh Allen.
Let's check up his last few games. Russell Wilson. Let's see where he's at. What he's been doing.
Yeah, Prize Picks is pretty good at nailing right where they are at. So
right.
He's probably
so last week he threw for 114. Week before he threw for 94.
Oh, we're going under.
Before he threw for 95.
What?
Am I tripping? Yeah, man. What's going on here?
Is that accurate?
Yeah, last week he was 12 of 19 for 114 yards. Week before that he was 20 of 29 for 194. He hasn't thrown for more than 214 since week 4. I'm going under. What do you think?
I'm going under unless he breaks the trend this week. Yeah, but not against the Bills. I would be surprised.
$50.
Boom.
Let's do it. All right, now we got a little action for the game tonight. Again, use promo code Cohn, COHN, if you want some of that action.
Some of that action, boss. Hey, did anyone call you? If I went to high school with you, I would have called you Cone Dog because your name's Cone. Kind of sounds like corn. Did anyone call you Cone Dog?
No one called me Cone Dog, but
they're slipping.
That
would have been a good option. They blew it. Yeah.
I wish someone had called me that. I think it's not too late.
Yeah. Let's start it up.
No, we got you. Jay Luck says, love the show, Grant. Have you ever tried the carnitas tacos in San Jose at a restaurant called Costa Alegre? If not, you should try. My treat. I haven't. I don't spend that much time in San Jose. I'm in Santa Clara, but I will try it. Costa Alegre. Thank you very much. I love carnitas. Thank you. Ezio Sanchez says, Wilkes could have been in the moon. It's all about the press.
Yeah. There's a delay, though, when you're communicating from the moon. That probably wouldn't have worked out.
He said his number one thing was taking away the explosive play. All right, you did that, but giving up all those quick passes is killing your pass rush. He had to figure out the hard way, but he figured it out.
Yeah.
Dark Halo says Patriots are releasing cornerback Jack Jones.
I saw that. Could be an improvement.
Better than Ambry. Put Feliciano or Burford to right tackle. Or Jalen Moore.
Yeah.
A tackle. Lamonte 757 says, I'm a Niner for life, but also live in the real world where I know we can't beat the Eagles. Their D-line is just as good as ours, and they have a way better offensive line and a better quarterback. What if Purdy gets hurt in that game? Purdy get hurt against the Eagles? That would never happen.
That's not gonna
Why would you bring up something that's totally out of the realm of possibility?
No,
doesn't make
sense.
sense.
Happen twice. That would be bad.
All right, we've talked about Brock. We've talked about Wilkes. We've talked about Ambry, Spencer Burford. Other than that stuff? What are your big takeaways from this game?
I have a few, but let's start. I'll start with the negative and then go positive. Elijah Mitchell is toast. Can we acknowledge that? He had 9 runs for 2.9 yards per carry. It's time to go to Jordan Mason. I'm sorry. I liked Elijah Mitchell. He was a big part of the team the last few years. He's done, man. Like, we got to go to Jordan Mason. That's one thing I learned watching this game is just Elijah Mitchell couldn't get nothing going at all. They tried to insert him, and it just wasn't it. I think he's done, man. I think he's been beat up too much, unfortunately, and I feel bad for the guy, but I don't think he's the answer. They need to start inserting Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason needs to supplant Elijah Mitchell. That's one of my takeaways.
And I don't know. I feel like it's almost a sentimental choice to go with Elijah Mitchell. Like, I like him. He's been through it. We kind of did him a disservice giving him all those carries. It feels sentimental, man. Give your team the best chance to win. That's playing Jordan Mason over Elijah Mitchell.
You can't be sentimental when it comes to making decisions for your football team. It has to be the best player plays. I've seen that
also,
too much.
Stubbornness. Doesn't it feel like Kyle's hearing it? Everyone's telling me I got to play Jordan Mason, so I'm not going to give him any carries. Like, come on, dude. Don't be like that.
Not to bring this up, but I'm seeing it with my Warriors. They're making sentimental decisions with Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson shouldn't be starting right now, but that's a whole different subject. But let's go back to Elijah Mitchell. I agree with you. It's a sentimental take. Jordan Mason is the better player. They need to play him. Another takeaway for me on this game, I got 4 of them. The second one will be Trent Williams is the most important player on this team. I think CMC and Brock Purdy
hard to win without him.
Are come after that, but Trent Williams is the difference maker for this team. He protects.
They can't really run without him.
They can't run without him. It gives Brock Purdy that confidence. He's that leader. He makes the whole team just feel like, oh, we got a Hall of Famer out here, anchoring the line. Like, Trent Williams is key to this 49ers team, and they got to protect him, make sure he stays healthy at all costs, because I feel like without Trent Williams, they're going to struggle. They need him throughout the playoffs, 100% healthy. That's my second one.
Yeah, it's like Jalen Moore is serviceable, but what they do, their bread and butter, the basis of their offense is outside perimeter runs to the left with an all-pro running back who can get out there and an all-pro left tackle who can get out there. It's a great combination. And Trent Williams is in the running for greatest left tackle of all time, mostly because of that. Like, there's been a lot of great pass protectors at left tackle. Is he the best of all time? I don't know. I mean, there's been guys who could do that at 6'8", guys who were a lot bigger and stronger and meaner than him. But his ability to run like a much smaller man is what sets him apart. And their Niners are a run-first team, and it's all about him. It's not about Aaron Banks.
Did you see 31 on the Jags running away from Trent Williams?
Yeah. That's
smart decision.
Yep. Smart decision. You got to make those business decisions.
Yeah. So that was number 2. Number 3 is Chase Young is definitely a factor. He's definitely a difference maker. I didn't know how much of a difference maker or how good he was necessarily. I watched him before play several games, but I feel like having that kind of talent on the opposite side of Bosa is a difference maker. I mean, you got Hargraves, now you got Chase Young and Bosa. Who do you double? And, it's very hard for offensive lines to deal with. Chase Young is an absolute factor. I think he's going to make a difference. Last year, the spark was Christian McCaffrey. This year, maybe not on quite the same scale, but it could be the spark that this defense needs with Chase Young.
Yeah, and remember last year, what they did, to beat the Niners, you either had to have a great offensive line or a quarterback who could buy time and get the ball down the field, because they were going to play aggressive coverage. They were going to risk giving up the big play. And if you could block long enough or hold the ball long enough, you could get the big play on the Niners last year. Lenore gave it up. Travarius Ward gave it up. Ambry gave it up. But now, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that's going to be the formula again against the Niners, if that's what Steve Wilkes going to go to. In which case, how many teams can pull that off? Philly? Maybe that's one.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Baltimore, maybe that's 2. Not sure that Seattle can do it. Do they have the offensive line to pull it off? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe Detroit if we see them in the playoffs, but outside that, it's really
that's another one.
Detroit and the Eagles, really. He's such a factor. It's a great pickup, especially at the price they got him for and what they're paying for him. So Chase Young is definitely a factor. The last one I got, man, is, and we've been talking about it, I think a big part of this victory and why they were so good is because they got everyone included. They were dynamic, right? George Kittle, 3 passes, 116 yards. Brandon Ayuk, 3 receptions, 55 yards. Christian McCaffrey, 6 receptions, 47 yards. Debo, 4 receptions, 30 yards. Juszczyk, 2 receptions, 26 yards. They got diverse, what we've been calling for this whole time. Now they can turn it up a little bit more by inserting Jordan Mason every now and then. But overall, I think being diverse, not being so predictable, getting everyone included, because you got some really good talent on this team. That makes a difference, man.
That's why you got to pass more.
Right.
Because when you're that focused on running the ball, it's all about Christian McCaffrey. Right. But when you pass, it can be about him and Debo and Ayuk and Kittle and Juszczyk and everyone. And that's just a much more difficult offense to stop. Now, you do have a quarterback who makes some questionable decisions, tries to do a little too much, puts the ball in harm's way. That's true, Kyle. But Jimmy was like that too. You worked around him for a long time. You can call a lot of safe, easy, extended handoff throws that'll work around Brock Purdy's tendency to get a little risky, a little loose. You can do it, Kyle. We believe in you.
Here's the thing, too, Grant. If you're a run-heavy team and you turn the ball over, and all you can do is run the ball, it's much harder to come back from that mistake than if you pass the ball a lot and you're explosive and you make a turnover. Okay, no big deal. Let's go out and get them next time. And that's like why a lot of these passing teams are so successful and why every turnover is so crucial for the 49ers, because if you fall behind at all, now you're behind and that's not our game. We don't know what to do. You flip that by becoming a more pass-heavy team, utilizing all these weapons. And if you make a turnover, hey, go out and get it next time. You got a defense that's going to do a good job stopping the other team, and they'll get another opportunity. And that's why another reason why you got to be diverse and you got to pass more.
Yeah, I mean, your quarterback is the real deal and your weapons are really expensive. You got to pass more. You can't be that predictable on offense. J. Zach Low Show says, slide to the tailgate on Sunday, Grant and Ryan. I got y'all on a beer. We at Green Lot. Man, I'm working. Rajbir Samra says, I'm rooting for KC to beat the Eagles. Depends week.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. Matthew Sanders says, to be honest, game was kind of boring in that we didn't learn anything we didn't already know. Niners still can't win from behind. Better teams will steal their soul.
Ouch. Not their soul.
I didn't think it was boring, but I know what you mean. Like we didn't learn that much about the Niners. They made some adjustments, but that's how they win. The Jaguars didn't know. Jaguars learned a lot about the Niners. We didn't learn as much.
Yes.
All right. Not the Niners are 6-3.
Yeah.
Let's analyze where they sit in the playoff picture.
Mm-hmm.
They're in first place in the NFC West. Mm-hmm. Seahawks are 6-3, but they lost a game in the division. The Niners are 2-0. But still they're close.
Yeah.
And Eagles are 8-1. Dallas is also 6-3. So let's look at where they are in terms of
Lions are 7-2. They're the third seed right now.
They're the third seed. Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Yes. So in the NFC West, like you said, they're tied 6-3 with Seattle. Seattle, it's funny. Seattle's actually 6-3, but they've only put up 200 points and gave up 201. Where the Niners have, I don't know. It's interesting. You've given up more points than you've scored, but you're 6-3. So
yeah,
the 49ers are 250.
That's to me the mark of a team that's might be kind of good in close games as opposed to the Niners. I'm just saying,
at least experienced.
Or maybe they're just fraudulent.
It could be another option too. Yeah, and we'll find out soon. The Niners have put up 252 points and only allowed 143. So the games they're winning, they're blowing people out. So this game against Seattle, honestly, before the season, I had this as a loss for the 49ers. The first game in Seattle on Thanksgiving, I had them going 5-1 in the NFC West, splitting with Seattle in Seattle, coming back and beating them when they come back to Levi's. I don't know if I think that's going to happen now. I'm a little bit more confident in the 49ers. The Seattle's a good team, but I don't think they're quite on the level as the 49ers. But interdivision games are always tough. So we're going to have to see how that one plays out. I don't know. But as far as the big picture, Grant, the Lions and the Eagles are both ahead of the 49ers, but they got just as tough, if not tougher, schedules. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, really, you don't want to face the Lions. They have a good offensive line. I'm trying to think about the week 1. If in the playoffs, if the Niners are the 3 seed, who are they in line to play in the first round of the playoffs? How does that work? I forget.
So let's see how many teams are in the playoffs this year now. What do
So
they do?
2 faces 7, 3 faces 6, and 4 faces 5. So the Niners would face the Cowboys in the first round if they played today.
Which could be interesting. Playing them again. I don't know. I don't think I know we smacked the hell out of them, but playing a team twice like that is tough and be like the 3rd time in the last 3 seasons. So I don't know. Not really. I'm not too scared of the Cowboys, honestly, based on what they've done against us. They don't really scare me. What does, like, the 49ers to me, they want to jump up as much as they can. And we're looking at the Lions schedule. The Lions have to play not Lions schedule is actually not that bad, actually, now that I'm looking at it. They play the Bears, the Packers. Yeah, the Lions are going to they're going to secure that 7-2 spot. The best team they play is the Vikings. They got to play them twice. Outside of that, not a challenge. Now the Eagles,
so the Niners looking at maybe the 3 seed, but that's not necessarily the worst thing.
It could be the 3 seed. Yeah, I think 3 seed's actually realistic. But when I look at the Eagles, though, I'm being real. The Eagles got a tough ass schedule, man. They play the Chiefs, then the Bills, then they play the 49ers and the Cowboys, Seahawks, and that's pretty much it. They play the Giants and the Cardinals. Play Giants twice in the Cardinals. Not really worried about that, but they do have to play the Chiefs, the Bills, the Niners, and the Cowboys and the Seahawks. So you could see the Eagles drop down. The Lions might be the number 1 seed when all this is said and done. I know that sounds crazy, but I can see it. And then
my thing I want to see with the Niners is the fatigue. I want to see that. Like, they got gassed after 8 games. Now they got probably a long road, probably no more bye weeks, a lot of travel. Man, you've played so many football games the last 2-3 seasons. Really want to see how this team finishes up, because it seems like when they're fresh and healthy, they're almost impossible to beat, but they're not going to be fresh and healthy that much longer.
I'm telling you, Grant, those 2 games, the 2 games that are going to make or break this playoff seeding for the 49ers is that back-to-back Thanksgiving in Seattle and then the Eagles in Philadelphia. What they do in those 2 games is going to decide pretty much where they're going to be in the playoffs, and could be a deciding factor in the season, because home field advantage is important for teams.
Completely agree.
Yeah. I mean, there's a possibility that Niners don't win the NFC West. That's still a possibility. Like, they're tied with the Seahawks. If the Seahawks split and Seahawks have a better record, I mean, the Niners might not win the NFC West. They'll still make the playoffs. But I mean, it's still a possibility. I think they do. I think they split with the Seahawks and they win. But I mean, those 2 games, that's everything. Seahawks and Eagles.
Tom Jensen says Niners probably play Seattle wild card, then in Detroit for divisional, then Philly. Shout out Tom Jensen, does a great job writing for my site, si.com. Has his game review up right now. You should read it. It's phenomenal. Yeah. I don't think that's great if the Niners have to go to Detroit. It's a dome. It's a turf field. The Niners are all in their heads about turf. And I think it's a tough matchup for them too, because they have the offensive line to at least survive the 49ers. And if you can block their front, I mean, you got Ambry Thomas out there. You got their corners aren't that great. Their safeties aren't that great. So all of a sudden, you got a quarterback who can sling it with some time. I mean, we saw what Kirk Cousins did, so we'll see. But Joe Burrow did.
Yeah. The season better not come down to whose offensive line is better, which is basically what it came down to last year.
That's correct. All right, everyone. It's lunchtime. Thanks for watching. The Monday morning show is officially over because it ain't morning anymore. Ryan, great to see you.
Let me say something, Grant. First of all, congratulations to you on 70,000 subscribers. That's huge. I don't know if you talked about it yet on your show, but that's fantastic. I started following Grant. He had 1,000 Twitter followers and no YouTube channel. And I've been able to watch him grow this whole time, and it's fantastic, man. Congratulations to you. That's phenomenal.
Thank you, man. You've grown a lot. You've been doing this a long time, but on YouTube, you've grown a whole lot. You got a lot going on right now. I'm really proud of you. Doing great. Man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll be back, I think, this afternoon with Larry. I should probably contact him, but I'm guessing I'll do a show with Larry. We'll see.